Hi, I'm Nathan Geisert, Western Nebraska. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I restore John Deere tractors, and my current project is a 1925 Spoker D with new old stock parts. Right now I'm going to show you some of the literature I've collected over the years, mostly to the mid to late 1920s, and some of this literature is pretty colorful. This is from 1929, where it shows you a lot of nice illustrations, and this was an advertising booklet from John Deere about the John Deere Model D and all the options. There's a page with all the options in it. Here's another one a lot like it with the combine on it. Here are some smaller pamphlets, and some of the illustrations are pretty nice in here, like that one there. That's pretty neat. But there's several different varieties of them. These are all mid to late 1920s. This is probably the earliest one I have. I think this is 1926. That says, "What do the farmers say across the fence?" And it's just an advertising booklet that was put out by John Deere. It has the same illustration in as the other one did. The original owner's manuals for the tractors. I got a couple of those, examples of those. This one here actually has the feeler gauge for the spark on the magneto to set the points. And these were also the parts manuals too. It has all the part numbers in the back. But of course, as John Deere went along and they updated parts a lot, they had to finally go to a manual just for parts, and that's what this is in 1926. This is the earliest parts manual I have, but it shows you all the parts that are in the tractor. And I've used this a lot to determine which parts are correct for the tractor. So valuable piece of information. So, and here's a service manual booklet that'll tell you how to assemble the tractor. It will go through all the different aspects of the tractor. There's one on the fan assembly and the radiator and the cooling system. Here's a page on the carburetor. I bought most of these on eBay back years ago when you could still find some good items on eBay. It's kind of difficult to find good old parts and good old manuals on eBay anymore. It's mostly gone to Facebook now, so I follow Facebook quite a bit to find these items. A lot of these were like mailers to the farmers, or they were kept at the dealership as giveaways. Of course, the owner's manual was folded in half and put in the toolbox on every tractor. So you won't ever find an owner's manual that's not folded in half, because there was a little slot in the toolbox to put the owner's manual. Go for it, Dad. So this book here is the repair parts manual that the dealer would use to look up parts to order, and it was published in January of 1926, and this is the oldest one I have, and it'll list all the parts according to application. Like this is the reverse brake and the clutch, and it'd be listed in order as to the application. And then in the back there'll be illustrations of all the parts, so you can actually look at the parts you need or the one that's broke and pick it out in the illustrations, and then it'll refer you back into the parts manual, give you the part number so that you can order the correct part. But starting with the engine and all the engine parts and the cooling system parts and the governor and the air intake and the hood and the gas tank, the radiator, the clutch parts on this page, the transmission parts, and the final drive. and then the front axle and the front spindles and the control rods and the rear wheels and the steering, and fenders, fender brackets, drawbar, skid rims, and then it comes back into some options, the option of a PTO and all its parts, and then some miscellaneous parts and magneto parts, and the magneto brake parts breakdown for the magneto, and then all the parts listed in chronological order. I bought a transmission case that was completely stripped down off eBay back probably 20 years ago, and it's been laying in the weeds, and one of these days it's time to bring it out and start looking it over, and I'll give you some tidbits about how you can tell the differences in the transmissions. And as John Deere progressed in their development of the John Deere, they changed a lot of parts along the road. When I get into the build of this, I will have a list of parts that I'm still missing. Half of them are parts that I don't think are out there. There's probably some that I think that are still out there that I could use. But when we get into the videos on describing the new old stock parts, I'll have a list of parts that I need yet and will need help finding. And so I'll be asking the viewers to help me in that.
Tractor.